incorporated, mentor, healthcare advocate, all types of stuff.
Yeah. White men ask black men hard questions, so they started it up again in Clubhouse for a little bit. So I got the notification. So I wanted to be notified when they started that conversation.
So annoying. Going to be notified. Speaking of it, Clubhouse, you on Clubhouse?
Yeah. I follow you on Clubhouse.
Tell people where
And
you
you.
on
I don't know my name on Clubhouse. I don't know my
Let me go find.
Yeah, find my name. I don't know what my name is on Clubhouse. I think it's I don't know.
Let me go find.
I don't know what my name is. It's Alejandro Jones. So,
Revolutionary 6.
Okay.
I know that's right. What made you pick that name?
Revolutionary because I am a revolutionary 60 because that's my favorite number. So, yeah, that's
Yeah. Reverend from the
fifth floor. Well, no, sixth floor.
Not the fifth floor.
Sixth
Sixth
floor.
floor.
Sixth floor. That's my number. That's my favorite number.
Got you. Welcome to another episode of Concrete Rose, the podcast with everybody's favorite, Alexis Ariane and Keeks Lolo. Do you need some Lolo? I think so. Okay. Stay there, we got shit.
Yeah, y'all.
You in?
Yeah. Yep, in there.
Show me some love. We still social distancing. We back with another episode of everybody's favorite podcast. Super excited because tonight we have a special guest joining us. Alex Jones, somebody we've been trying to get on the episode
Since the first season.
since season 1. This is somebody who I personally go to for mentorship, for inspiration, and some other things. He is the site coordinator at the Lincoln Heights Outreach. Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I did. Also, as a health advocate, a mentor in the Black community, into everybody in general. The list goes on and on. But without further ado, thank you for joining us.
Thank y'all for having me.
Jones.
I appreciate y'all for having me.
That's so weird that you keep calling him that.
I know, right? My whole name. I'm AJ.
Because I have to be formal, like somebody might, you never know who's listening.
Oh, no, you're right.
You never know. Because people can't just, ain't nobody just come up to me like, hey, Alexis Ariane. Like, hold on, you don't know me.
Dang, you're right about that.
You don't
So,
know
yeah,
me.
I'm Alex.
But they would do that though. Because that is
Yeah, because the podcast.
Okay, maybe that was a bad example. But somebody not gonna come up to me like, what up, Lexi? You don't know me. You gonna call me Alexis. So, I'm put some respect on it. Like, whatever.
I'm different, though. I prefer you to call me AJ unless you really know me. If you really know me, you can call me Alex.
And
But-
that's why I said.
Okay, yeah, so all right, you good. You really know me, so we good.
Nah, but I have been contemplating that though. I said I'm gonna introduce him as his name, but
As you
yeah.
should. I think that, growing, being a professional, Alex is what you should represent me as.
And then on Clubhouse, like your name on Clubhouse.
It
It's not
is.
your ad name, but it's your name. So just in case somebody do want to reach out to you later,
Please do.
that's who you can look for, not AJ.
Alejandro. Alejandro Jones.
What's going on with Keeks?
Nothing's going on with Keeks. Yeah. Same old.
How's today?
Today was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing new. Nothing's going on. I'm just figuring out life still. It's a slow process. Yeah, definitely a slow process. So I'm just here.
I'm rooting for you. We rooting for you.
Always.
Excited. Sheesh.
New with you.
No, probably nothing new. I'm excited with things going on in the world. I'm excited with all the pearls and the chucks yesterday. I was excited to be a Black woman.
Yeah.
At that point, HBCU grad on top of everything. I was geeking. Like, what?
Did you cry?
I was about to, but I'm a crybaby.
Cry.
I'm a crybaby. I don't know.
You could have cried.
I don't need to cry.
I think that was like, I really don't need no other acceptance since I got the one I need. Like, yeah, it's gonna be an HBCU.
I know that's right.
Even though I'm still waiting on one from an HBCU, but
Yeah.
it's definitely, I'm like, why not go ahead and get that experience?
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's exciting.
I agree. Was it for grad school?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, big dog.
That's exciting. I mean, like, just going and being with your people, especially like right now.
I
I'm just
definitely
like-
agree. Yeah, being on the campus, with your people, like-minded people with that,
Yeah.
kind of striving for like some of the same goals. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
think that's big.
It's hard to find like-minded people in, I guess, where we are in our everyday life, like, because they worried about the wrong things and such and such and such when we worried about the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, not saying we might not be out and enjoy ourselves or whatever, well, not during this dang pandemic, but just being around like-minded people, I'm excited for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah,
We were just talking about that.
we definitely
Like,
were.
We don't always agree on the same things. we like rarely ever never agree on the same things, but having that other perspective, and we the same sign too, so we know exactly how to say stuff, and it just be like, and it made me think. But that's why, like, in other relationships, like I told somebody the other day, like, I can manipulate the heck out of a situation because I just be talking. Like, I just be talking. That's not okay.
Not okay at all.
That's not okay. But I identify that. Anyways,
That's your truth.
huh?
That's your truth. As long as you know it, yeah, that's your truth.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So I'm trying to get back to this. I'm trying to catch this topic. What?
I was trying to see what topic.
This that you sent me.
Oh, I think it's like black men versus black women.
Why did it be versus stuff?
That's what we're gonna talk about.
So
I think that's what
What
it
does
is.
that mean?
Exactly. So when you be like, oh, you ever played a game like Mortal Kombat or something? I'm like, oh, Scorpion versus whatever, Liu Kang or something. That's what it is in the black community. It's black men versus black women. It's not a united front. That's what I mean.
and who do you say, or who would you say, where does the competition come from? At what point?
I mean, it's
does it-
systemic. I mean, so it's an extension of slavery. Black men against black women, and then taking the black man out of the house and women becoming more independent. But nowadays, I believe that it's more so of us kind of competing for the world to see our traumas as different, as opposed to us viewing them as one. Right? So you might say, hey, well, I've been through this. Then I might say, no. Well, as a black man, we could go through this, but we fight the same battle, because we essentially still are the minority in the world. So it's more so we're against each other as opposed to us being united.
Okay, so I still don't think that. Who's, like, you said versus, like, I don't.
And that's the part I'm
Yeah,
getting, the
what do you
versus
say?
piece. Like,
So it's black men against black women.
I think it's trying to hurt the most.
In a nutshell, yeah. I think on given platforms, we always talk about how, well, the black man does this, or the black man does that. The black man may degrade the black woman, or the black woman may not uplift the black man, or reasons why the black man may date the white woman, or reasons why the black woman may date the white man. It's not really us presenting us as us to the world. It's always the black man and the black woman fighting two separate, different struggles, when in reality it's kind of more so the same, a united fight, not you fighting over here and I'm fighting over here.
Well, I think that goes with the black man not supporting the black woman, and she feel like, okay, now I have to do everything myself, and now I have to show your ass that I can do everything myself. And then the ego of a black man comes up and comes into the picture, and then he thinks, this is where I was getting at it, and then he feels like it's a competition, because now, I done tugged at your ego a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm going somewhere.
No, and I think that's exactly what AJ's saying too, but for me, that's just not something that, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because I know it does. It is like, who has the most trauma? Oh, it's harder being a black man. No, it's harder being a black woman.
Right.
Like, I understand that, but like, at what point, not even at what point, it's about changing that narrative. And so I'm not even feeding into like black man versus black, like it shouldn't be, like you said, it shouldn't be a versus. And so I don't even live my life, or I don't see things where it's versus the black man, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna try to uplift it and work with the black man, like, or the black woman.
You are. So it's not about you, me, or her. This is about us, the totality of us as a whole. What I see on a day-to-day basis is more so of, if a black man is not being killed by a police officer or official, he can't be a victim in a sense, right? The only time a black man, in my opinion, is allowed to be a victim is when he's being killed and on the news in front of the world. Outside of that, in what space is a black man allowed to be vulnerable? It's not many. It's not many spaces.
It's not many spaces, but once again, I don't know. I got this, my little therapist thing going. So I create that space for a black man, any person to be vulnerable, but especially a black man. And I would talk to them about the whole traumas and mental health and all this other stuff. And so, right. So I'm talking more about me, I guess, but
I'm just saying I want it to be more of a norm between us all. So we're saying the same thing. I want it to happen between us all, not just these, okay, you do it, then 5 others won't do it, then she'll do it, then 10 others won't do it. I may do it, then 10 others won't do it. But across the board, we don't have that united front, is what I'm speaking to, which is problematic, which is why we still have the issues that we have right now between black men and black women.
So what's the solution?
I think through
My next question.
through conversation and the black man and woman being willing to listen, not point the finger or point the blame, accept whatever it is I'm telling you, you accept it. And then you ask me, okay, so how can I help you be better in the areas that you're struggling in? You'll tell me the same thing, and I'll give you the same answer. And if we cannot help each other, then we'll go seek help from someone who can potentially help us. So I think that's a better solution than what we're doing right now, which is kind of arguing back and forth, not really getting to a point to where we come to any common ground. We just argue about, and then I'm done with you. Well, I'm done with you. All right. Well, your charm is not valid. Well, yours ain't either. All right. Okay, I'm gone. Bye. Then what? It's the same cycle we go through, which is why we don't have a lot of marriage or just long-lasting relationships, because we don't really communicate with each other to kind of figure out what's going on, why it happened, and then work to heal. We just kind of doing what we do, so to speak, which is why we are in a position I believe that we in, as far as like the younger generation not really being stable in relationships, etc. In my opinion. So that's just But what about y'all? What do y'all?
I was trying to get my thoughts together.
What do y'all think the solution is? I think a lot of it also, it's just hard. Like being vulnerable as a black man, it's hard because naturally black men don't have a space to be vulnerable, and that starts when you're growing up as a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, being emotional, no, you're not really allowed to be emotional.
You don't show two emotions.
Right, you're not allowed to. So for some women, not all women, to expect a man to, like, once he gets a certain age, to manifest into this emotional creature, it's not realistic.
When he's been conditioned not to show emotions.
Exactly. So
besides anger and happiness to a certain extent.
Right. So how do you expect me as a man to be vulnerable or emotional with you when, as an adolescent, that's not what I was nurtured. That's not what my environment was conducive to. Doesn't make sense. However, women expect that, and then when they don't get it, then it becomes a natural conflict. Then a relationship doesn't work.
I think you touched on it though when you talked about the communication. So I think it all goes back into the communication where, as people, we just have poor communication skills. We think everybody's a fortune teller. You know how I'm feeling, or because and I'm supposed to because I have a problem with you supposed to say something to me versus me coming to tell you what the problem is.
Right.
And I think that's with like a lot of, not just like in a man and woman type relationship, but just in relationships, period.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't able to express how they feel. One, because, like you said, feelings are getting discounted. People aren't really listening to understand, they're just listening to defend themselves and to respond. And so it goes back into the whole communication piece. But there needs to be more, I guess, not even platforms, I don't want to use that word, but more spaces for people to communicate.
Yeah.
Or to learn even how to communicate basic listening skills.
Right.
Basic I statement skills. Being able to talk about myself without
deferring to you.
Yeah, or you, but I, and you know, I'm like, I, and you like, yeah, you talking about you. Yeah, I'm talking about me, because I can only speak for myself. And just having more, I guess, spaces to, I don't know, speak about those things. I don't know. But communication is that biggest thing.
No, y'all two got it.
What you
Y'all
got,
got
big
it.
dog?
No, I agree though. I think it's about communicating. I think it's about somehow putting a trust back into our community. We walk around so much thinking everybody is against us. Not only the white folks. I'm talking about the black folks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shoot, you ride through your own neighborhood and you looking behind your back, locking your doors and all that. It's like there's no trust. So if there was a situation where I'm at it with a black man or I had a conflict with a black man, it's easy, first of all, to disrespect you. Like, because you ain't having no respect yourself. It's easy for me, or it's easy for you to not want to show me your feelings because you don't trust me. You don't trust me with your feelings. You don't trust me with anything. And then those tactics that we learn, like build a wall, oh well, get over it. And I remember one episode I told you that I had to go learn how to communicate because that's not how I grew up. We're not gonna like come sit talk about it, And in my relationships, that has translated, like, and I didn't want it to. And like, I don't want that to be something like something so simple as communicating. Like, come on now, that is a God's gift that you got. Like, but yeah, that's my spiel.
Oh God. Okay.
And I think another good point that AJ made was the fact that we're fighting the same fight. And so when we talk about black men can't be victims or they can't be vulnerable, black women have also been conditioned not to be vulnerable because you got to be the strong black woman because they took the man out the household. And so now you're stepping up in this position. And so they're trying to condition us to be what we're not conditioned, are not supposed to be conditioned to. And so everybody's trying to figure out, like, who ain't gonna show those feelings first?
Right.
And it's like, now ain't nobody got no feelings or nobody cares about anything. And the first time you show some type of emotion, then you're weak. And it's like, that doesn't make you weak. The fact that I'm showing emotion, I can communicate my emotions in a positive, not even a positive way, but in a productive way, that makes me stronger than any of y'all because a lot of people are controlled by emotions.
Yeah.
And that's how we're losing lives and just falling into this systemic thing that they want us to fall into, because once you hit on those emotions, they got you.
He who angers you controls you.
That's why you can't make me mad.
Yeah.
Be cool and hot, be cool. I feel you.
You gotta speak up, AJ.
I'm sorry. I cool how I be cool. You can't really make me angry because, like you said, if you can make me angry, you can control what I do or don't do. So, yeah, I'm with it. That definitely makes a lot of sense.
I have a question for you.
Me?
All
right.
So, what?
I'm just here.
We got an episode coming up, and it's about, a segment of it is about alpha woman. How does an alpha woman and an alpha man coexist? And from your point of view, like, Because we sit on here all day and just, this is stuff we talk about all day on this podcast, and it's just our perspective, two women. You only the second male that we've had
That's
on
what
here.
I've been waiting. I've been like, but that's a good question. However, I think ego plays a large part in that. And me myself, I don't mind. So if you have two people who are good or alpha, you have to kind of find a balance, or someone at least has to take the back seat at some point. Like you can't, or you clash and argue and fight. So if I know that you're not able to take the back seat in some aspects of whatever we're doing, I'll take the back seat. Let's say it's not really gonna be, it's no time for us to clash, so I'm just gonna take it.
Right.
I wouldn't do, oh, you got it. That's it. That's cool.
That's funny.
At that point, you know, like I know what I want, you know what you want. However, I know that we cannot get it clashing.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna take that, you want that road, you got it. I got you. I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna back you up.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easier than what we make it out to be, and it's all about sacrificing and compromising your egos. So,
Yeah.
but you know you learn that with experience and stuff, and some people kind of take a little longer than others. But yeah.
Or I just ain't as old as you.
Well, I mean that too, but you experienced though.
I'm weak. That's funny.
Also, well, I do have something.
Go ahead.
Lincoln Heights community, if you have any kids or relatives or friends with kids, I have an after school program that I'm developing. If you want to know more, contact me at 513-744-6262. Call me tomorrow morning. We can talk, we can discuss. I'll give you some paperwork so you can fill it out and bring your kids to my after school program.
They have to go to Lincoln Heights.
Yeah, Lincoln Heights, Glendale,
Woodlawn.
that little area.
Oh.
Or if you go to Lincoln Heights Elementary. So just give me a call again, 513-744-6262. If I don't answer, you can leave me a voicemail and I'll make sure to get back with you.
Shameless plug. So,
If it wasn't funny, I didn't expect that.
Nah,
so can you just tell them about like the background when it comes to Lincoln Heights? Because I don't think a lot of people understand the significance of the Lincoln Heights neighborhood.
Yeah.
Especially like I didn't know for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm from like Barn Hill, so like I really still didn't know anything about Lincoln Heights.
Yeah, I'm from Barn Hill also. So as far as being able to tell you about Lincoln Heights, I cannot really tell you much, but I do know
You can tell me the significance.
I can tell you the significance of, I know the Isley brothers, they're from Lincoln Heights. Well, Lincoln Heights is its own city. Again,
So Lincoln Heights was like one of the first black established like communities.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
So like my family is from like that side and then that side. And
Yeah,
so,
see, I'm just Barn Hill. I'm telling you
So
that.
that sounded like, hey, don't blow it.
No, look, listen.
That's
hey,
not-
no, that's not my special. I'm
No,
learning
I mean, so
more
what
and
drew
more.
you to Lincoln Heights though?
To be perfectly honest, I saw an opportunity.
Okay.
And I was presented with an opportunity that I wanted to fill because I see a void in the community as far as like after school, not having many programs developed, or in these cities, these neighborhoods, there aren't really any after school programs, which is a problem because our kids need something to do after school so that they stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
So, seeing the void, I'm like, okay, well, hey, let me see if I can get this. They offered me the position and I took it. So that's what drew me to work with Lincoln Heights Outreach. So I didn't really know much about Lincoln Heights, so you guys are educating me, which is cool. Yeah, so that's what drew me to the actual position, which had me inquiring, like, okay, so why aren't other neighborhoods like doing this? Because Lincoln Heights Outreach is an extension of the church in Lincoln Heights. So they initially started the program, but then they branched off. Lincoln Heights Outreach branched off to its own 501c, and from there they've been up and running.
That's good. I'm really excited for that because, like I said, like my church home is Tabernacle Baptist Church right there in Lincoln Heights home. Yeah. So yeah, we was out there a lot, and to see I mean, they've torn down the Valley homes. If you see the old Lincoln Heights, like, why haven't they done nothing with that? Like, it's been abandoned for forever. Like,
That's a good question.
I can remember we had like Little League games in the back. But knowing that they just got some initiative and trying to do something, and got that outreach program, because it's really not anything like there. Like, it's small, but it's a lot going on in that small little place.
Yeah.
So that's definitely exciting. So definitely hit up my guy Jiz on that. If anybody need anything, definitely hit Jiz up on that. And
Wait.
On what?
Who?
Jiz. I know, I done threw that in there. We affiliated now. On that tip, Kiki.
Is this Jiz?
Yes, that's Jiz.
Yeah, I'm like, who?
What?
I didn't. Who is Jizz?
You don't know your name, Jiz?
No, I didn't know.
His name on my phone is Jiz.
I promise you, I did not know who you. I'm like, is that somebody else? Like, she talking about me.
He told me that.
Okay,
Whatever.
yeah, I'm Jizz. All right. Yeah. What we got?
But yeah, so community, giving back to the community and all of that.
Yeah, man. Trying to do a little something, for the people. I think we especially now, it's an opportunity to kind of put some stuff in motion and build, not only for Lincoln Heights, because again, it's not my community. However, what I do in Lincoln Heights will translate to whatever Avondale, Bond Hill, Westwood, whatever other communities. So just trying to be an example for other people to kind of look at, build programs, hopefully now and in the near future is important to me at least.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for kids just to see just positive Black males, especially just in the community, that they can talk and be vulnerable with, or that it's people in the community that's trying to help them and that looks like them. So like you were saying, like, there's no trust within the community because it's, for some reason, we as Black people think that we got to go outside of our community to get help. Right? When we, for so long, was all we had and we helped each other. Like, it was really a village.
And that's what happened at Lincoln Heights Village, the village of Lincoln Heights. That's
and so I think it's really important just to be able, like you said, to see that even though it's starting in Lincoln Heights, just translate that back out into the community, because I'm not saying that there's not a lot, but a lot of it is focused around like sports. If it's not like a coach or somebody, then it's like, who else do you have in the community that's really trying to do outreach and give back in these other aspects and things of that nature? Because, I mean, it's some dope Black professionals in the city, but how many people are actually giving back to the children or the youth of the city?
Right.
It's not too many.
Right.
That I think of.
So. And I think somehow we have to do a better way of even getting those resources out there. Because so many times somebody say, oh, I didn't know this, or whatever, who have you, and it's just like everything else. Like, why don't you know about these resources? And some of the resources they don't want us to know about. They be hidden in plain sight. Honestly, and you too naive or egotistical to even look for it. Like, I think that's something too in the Black community. They scared to even say they need help.
Yeah,
being, you need help, you kind of like weak, at least from a man perspective. And it's a lot of cases, if you asking somebody for help, even if it's for like some directions to whatever, you're like, nah, I'm gonna find it, I'll figure it out. Don't want to ask for help for whatever reason.
I think that is on on a continuum. It's either like, I'm not gonna ask for help, or I'm gonna be so dependent on the help. Like, I'm gonna be crippled because if I don't get no help, then I can't be empowered to do stuff myself. And then it's those ones that's like, I ain't asking nobody for help. Like, it's gonna get done. I'm gonna figure it out. And I think it's that continuum. There's nothing in the middle there.
I think that's a problem. A lot of that is because people will, I can speak about the Black community, kind of judgmental. You always judging somebody, talking about somebody, always having something to say about anybody and everybody, but you don't really know necessarily what's going on within yourself, within your household, within your family. But, we always making fun of somebody or talking about somebody. That stuff kind of, for me at least, it kind of get old, It's cool, it's fun to us. But you don't necessarily know whatever that person is going through or isn't going through and how that may affect them. And then if that person was to do something to themselves or forbid commit suicide, whatever, everybody's solid crying. Well, why y'all do that to him? Married the third, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's a cycle within our community also. Like, we're very judgmental. And me, I've been moving off of, I may not understand what you're doing, but I know it's a reason. Like, I may not agree with that reason. The only thing I can do is not mess with you, right? I can not mess with you, I can pray for you, but I'm not going to openly judge you because it's been times where I've been doing stuff that you may not agree with. So I can't judge you because I don't know where your mind space is. I don't know where you are in your life, in your journey. I can just agree that it's not something I want to do with myself. So I think that if we take that approach as opposed to being so judgmental, especially on these platforms, I think it would be better off.
And that's the problem. I think everybody thinks that they have a voice just because they're on some platform. Like, you need not to talk.
Right.
You need not to type that. You need not to post that because you're doing more harm than good.
And half of the time, you posting something that you would not say in person. So it's just like, it's not respected. Like, for me at least, it just be like, you a whole mute in public, but you just got so much to say behind the keyboard.
Everybody has a voice with like social media. Anybody can say anything. You have an audience. It's crazy now. Anybody, like whatever you want to be out there, the click of a button, you can put it out there. Nobody, you don't really have control over, filter it, nothing. Everybody will see it.
Yeah.
Which I think that's another problem, man. It's too much getting out to these babies, these kids, no filters. Kids seeing any and everything. There's kids out here that, one of the kids, of course I can't say his name, but he doesn't want to be black because all the police officers kill black boys, and he's only, I think he may be 8 or 9 years old. So just kind of, now at this point, you can't really tell him that it isn't true. Now you got to find a way to filter kind of what you tell him and slowly explain to him what it is and what it isn't, but he's already experienced something that he probably shouldn't have experienced it at that long, at least as someone being exposed to it as soon as he was, because now you have to backtrack and kind of figure out how to gauge what he sees from this point moving forward. So it's just difficult now.
Sheesh. I can't imagine. Yeah. I can't imagine being a parent that actually care to filter stuff. Like, because I've been freaking out, like, what are you looking at? What are you listening to? Like, because you don't know what about to scroll on TikTok. You don't know what's coming next.
Nothing. Like, what's next?
Like, you never know.
Fortnite, my son Ashton played Fortnite, listening to like what they say or who he playing with, and like some of them grown men cussing at the kids, saying like little weird stuff to the kids. It's just crazy. And the reason I allow Ashton to even play Fortnite because it helps him with like problem solving. Quick is fast paced, so okay, you gotta think, I gotta go over there, okay, I gotta do this. So for me, that's why I allow him to even play the game anyway, because it helps him with like kind of problem solving quickly. But yeah, man, they message the kids like it was what did they say? Somebody was saying like they want to kill themselves. Girlfriend left them. Like, it's just a bunch of weird stuff that if you're not really paying attention to what's going on, your kid can be in some stuff, can be sending pictures or giving out the address or anything to anybody online. So yeah, man, it's crazy to say the least.
Yeah, it's a beast that we didn't have to really
Yeah, it was different
deal
for us.
with.
Yeah.
But now it's norm, and then once you become that person that monitors and do all this stuff, then you the weird parent, or you too strict, or your kid gonna start doing stuff they ain't supposed to do no way. And it's like, nah, kids need structure and boundaries and guidance and
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm definitely scared to have kids because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that, like, I'm definitely scared to have a son. Just the things that they have to deal with, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'm equipped enough to. And I think I'm pretty equipped, but dang, I don't think I'll be equipped enough. And I even have to catch myself, like when I talk to my nephews and stuff, like stop crying and stuff. Like I gotta stop telling them stop crying, because you can cry, but sometimes I just be like, what you crying for?
Yeah, that's always better.
Yeah,
you gotta always ask, what are you crying for? So now it's not a punishment. You're not being punished for crying. You can show your emotions, but you have to be able to communicate why you have them. Like, what you crying for? Okay, well, because X, Y, Z. So now, instead of me punishing you, I can say, okay, well, do you think it's another way? 'Cause this is what I do with Ashton. I'll ask you, do you think it's another way that you could have did that? He might say, yeah. Or he might say no. If you say no, I'll present him with some other options that, you know, he could have took. Hey, you could have did this, or you could have did that, instead of doing what you did. So now, when he's faced with another issue, he can stop and process like, okay, well, what are some of my options I could do, as opposed to being scared or being whooped or being told not to cry. He can kind of process things within his own mind, which will teach him how to problem solve. So I think if we take a different approach to how we parent our kids, they'll be less likely to lash out or be afraid to show emotions, or just doing some of the stuff that kids are doing now. Because, well, I know when I was young, at least, hey, if I was told not to cry, I'm not gonna cry. Because if I cry, I'm gonna get a whooping, and I don't want to get a whooping. So therefore, hey, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna talk back. You're gonna ask me what's wrong. Nothing. I'm okay, and that's it. But you know, for our kids nowadays, I think just having that open means of communication with them and giving them a platform to speak. You know, you can say what's, as long as you're respectful, you can say, hey, Dad, I think I should have did this, or this is why I did that, and I'm gonna listen to you. You know, I don't believe in like this is a dictatorship. You can't tell me how you feel. You can't say anything to me. What I say goes, because there's some stuff I may not see or I may not know. And even as kids, like Ashton's smart, it's some stuff that he can point out to me. Like just today, I was mad at him for doing something, not remembering that I told him not to do it. I told him not to do it. He didn't do it, but I was mad at him because he didn't do it. But I already had told him not to do it. So he reminded me like, Dad, you told me not to do that. You told me not to clean my room until whatever time I told him. I was like, dang, son, you're right. I did tell you that. My bad. You know, especially admitting that you're wrong to your kids is also big. Let them know that, hey, Dad can be wrong too. So, yeah, I think all of those things play a major part, a role, especially in kids nowadays with no filters and all of the stuff that's going on in the world that we didn't have to experience at least 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So.
You older than that.
Oh, God. On the game.
I'm weak.
No, I agree with all of that. I think in church last week, Pastor was talking about that, like kids being just more emotionally intelligent than adults now. And we gotta provide them with answers. It ain't just because I said so. Like, we gotta provide them with answers because they want the answers.
And they deserve the answers too. It's like, cause that keeps on going and keeps on going, and it's like, you gotta respect your parents. Why? Because I said so. And it's like, well, wait a minute, what happened? Don't let nobody disrespect you.
And then your parents don't want to disrespect you.
Yeah, and it's just like, we confused at this point, like.
And then when I say don't disrespect me, I'm being disrespectful to you.
Right. Like, and then I'm off your health insurance, but you telling me I'm still a child. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. No, I'm not. Like, literally, no, I'm not. Like,
right.
It's just so much. Like, and that's why, too, I'm scared to have kids, because it's like, you are in charge of a whole human life. Like, you can control their whole mental outcome. Like, you have so much weight. Like,
yeah, I got the weight. But like, again, especially if you're not together or with the mom or dad, then that's a different dynamic. Luckily for myself, you know, we cool, we co-parent well, but for a lot of people our age and our generation, there's a constant conflict, you know. And if we do have problems, it's not on the internet. So it's not for me to make a post about my son's mom is doing X, Y, Z, and then somebody friend chime in. They don't know the whole story, but they gonna say something they don't even know. But they gonna say something about it, or she say, well, my son's dad doing X, Y, Z, and people chime in without knowing the other half story or anything. So the problems that we do have is between us. You know, we'll have problems and we'll figure it out between us. In a lot of cases, that doesn't happen, and especially like co-parenting situations. So the dynamics are different. Then you got black men not taking care of their kids, some, and then you have some women using the kid as a pawn with others, and it's like it's creating a crazy dynamic within the black community, which is, you know, that's one of our biggest problems. I believe, at least, like just the whole co-parenting situation. And I don't believe, again, this is my opinion, I may agree or disagree, but I think a lot of times with black fathers, I don't see a lot of positive conversations in regards to what black fathers. I mean, you guys may see it, I just don't see it on these platforms. A lot of times when the black father isn't doing what they believe he should be doing as a black father, then those are the things that are on the platform, social medias, which for me is problematic because it perpetuates the narrative of black men not being fathers, when in reality, I know a lot of black men
That's good father.
are great fathers. But again, we don't have the black moms supporting that narrative. It's always, if he's not doing what well, I'm gonna put this on Facebook. Now, it may be true that they do, but I don't see it on my end. I don't know if you guys see more so of black fathers being promoted in a positive light. I just don't see it on my end.
Only time I see them is when they did the daddy-daughter dance. It's like, no. Everybody step out for that. I'm like, I didn't even know you had kids.
I didn't know that kid was your kid. I know that kid. No, but I think that goes back into like social media and the platforms and what you are, like, you control what you see.
Yeah.
And so, I still see a little bit of the ratchet stuff.
Oh.
A little bit of it. I'm not gonna say everybody, but I know the type of people that I want to see.
Right.
So if you look like you don't even take care of your kids, you can be my friend.
You don't got no pictures of your kids on your Instagram.
Like, we not, like, I don't know you got kids. I know you got kids, but don't nobody know you got kids. Like, I don't look at you. I don't interact with you. That's not something that I want to see on my thing. And so that's really when you have to start changing that narrative for yourself, and what you want to see. And so, like, on Instagram, I follow celebrities, I'm not gonna say that, but I found like myself following a lot more like black social workers, social work pages, more positive affirmations, things that uplift black women, things of that nature. Just because that's what I wanted to see when I scroll. Now, do I have some people that I keep because I want to see their stories? Yes, y'all seen it today because I want to see that foolishness. I do want to see some of that foolishness, but it's very limited. And once again, like, I don't know, the black men that I do know, like, you ain't gonna be no deadbeat.
That's the thing. It's you the gatekeeper for what you see. And for me, you associate, like, I'm not associating myself with no deadbeat. Like, I'm just not doing that. Because I ain't